I'm a little behind on some.
I don't. Yeah, we can talk about how interesting it is. How Certainteed's panel system is pretty nice looking.
We're gonna have Sun Style.
We can also talk about how we're going to be taking a shipment of that material, taking a delivery of that material sometime soon.
So I'm just going to be using the camera over here. So
Okay.
Kelvin, you
Well,
really
Kelvin-
got to use. Well, you don't have to come over that far, but just,
Okay.
just you can,
I can see
stay
myself
on.
right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as you can see yourself somewhat, so
Yeah.
that people know there's a
Yeah.
third person that's not just a ghost voice.
And we're just using the mic on the computer. I can't get the line feed. I don't know. Once again, the technology has defeated me.
Well,
How you doing?
Good.
Eric. Nice to meet you.
I think
sir.
Jackson was.
Okay,
you-
when we get on, just be sure to click your mic on.
Oh yes, I
Yeah.
think last time I was talking from last year.
Yeah,
so
you
Yeah,
got
yeah,
to
just get
on that mic. You
yeah,
got
on that one you gotta get
gotta
up close, because I had a guest this morning on another show. She's like way back here, and I'm like, I had to turn it up all the way.
Yeah, and then it sounds
It's a little funky.
like you're in a
Different.
barn.
Sounds like you're in a cave or something.
Yeah. Okay, we are 4 minutes away.
I'm just tuning up my live spot. I've started to change it up every single week because for a long time, I was just reading the same thing. That's not good for radio, I'm sure.
Say, Eric. Yes, sir. Are you recording the video?
Yeah.
Please do and send it to me so I can send it on.
The audio?
No, the video as well.
Oh shoot, I forgot it's first already. It was a short month last month.
Well, if you would
We should talk about HAAG a little bit and our points.
Yeah. I mean,
We should.
Johnny. Just tell Johnny.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Your
Yeah.
dad having the master certification, you're gonna get on your
My win.
your second certification.
They haven't told me yet.
Everybody at McRoof has
Obviously
a
recording it,
will have a HAAG
I'll ask him
certification
to send
within
it
the
to
next
me so
30
I can
days.
send it on.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Talking about,
We definitely need to hit on that.
I've got to switch that on auto.
Yeah.
Because if you do manual, it's just on Scotty.
Sure.
Yeah.
So put it on auto, and then the auto should switch by audio instead of motion.
Yeah, auto switch, and I return, and it bounces around.
Yeah.
So we're good.
Okay. Okay, we're about almost 2 minutes out. One minute. 15 seconds. There we go. Broadcasting live from the astonishing Tyler Media Studio D in Oklahoma City, it's McRoof Talks Insurance on KOKC AM 1520, FM 95.3. I'm Rick Allen Lippert. Scott McCollum has the day off today, so sitting in the captain's chair is HAAG-certified roofing inspector Scotty McCollum.
I could get used to this, Rick.
Also here is McRoof Solution Specialist Kelvin Chandler.
Hi, pleasure to be here.
I bet you have a
Soon
HAAG
to
certification.
Soon to be. I have finished my education, but I have not taken the test yet, so that is all I have.
Okay, well, good luck on
And
that.
we'll tell you about a new HAAG certification that somebody else obtained this week.
Okay.
But that will be later.
Also here, running man Eric Yandel is the wizard on the other side of the glass. We are live streaming the show on the McRoof Talks Insurance YouTube channel today. Also, you can hear us anywhere in the US of A on iHeartRadio. Just search for KOKC. So we're on the AM, we're on the FM, we're on the internet.
We're everywhere,
We're
Rick.
everywhere. Act 1 of the show today, we'll start as usual with our trivia question and other interesting tidbits, including the word of the week. That number again to answer the trivia question or to just ask a question is 405-478-1520. In Act 2, we'll hear Scotty's view from the rooftop. This week, Scotty and Kelvin discuss solution specialist experiences around the office and out in the field in a story called Men of Many Hats. Then in Act 3, we'll have more of your calls, plus we'll have some before and after the storm tips brought to you by RoofRx, and we'll wrap up with Dad's Wisdom, brought to you by Energy Q. Coming back from breaks, some really certified obscure historical trivia. Now, Scotty, I went to a neighbor's estate sale yesterday, looked around, and looked inside an interesting old suitcase.
Wow.
And in it was a handwritten note from the lawyer reminding me to say that S&CM LLC, doing business as McRoof.us, legally operates under Oklahoma registration number 80000002, and that the registration applies to both residential and commercial roofing. Now, how do you suppose he knows what I'm going to do before I know what I'm going to do?
You said it before. He's in your head.
He is in my head. Oh, my goodness gracious.
He knows your next move before you do.
He does, because it was a spur of the moment thing. It just like my wife and I got home and said, "Oh, look, the estate sale. Let's walk on down there." Oh, gee. All
I
right,
know, Kelvin.
So
We need to be looking around our every corner.
Yes, we do.
So let's get on with our trivia question, shall we?
Yes, we will do the trivia question, and then Kelvin will give us the word of the week.
So pay attention to all
Well,
of this.
Okay,
Listeners?
yeah, it doesn't matter what sequence we do them in, but just so you know, the word of the week is intended to help people answer the trivia question.
So listen up. Take
Yes.
notes.
Okay, this is our trivia question this week. In asphalt shingle roof systems, hail-caused damage presents as rupture of the reinforcing mat or displacement of granules sufficient to expose the underlying blank. A, bitumen. B, fiberglass. C, underlayment. Or D, adhesive.
Okay, so if you think you know the answer to the question, give us a call, 405-478-1520. The winner will get 2 free tickets to the Carpenter Square Theater, and we opened a new play last night, Silent Sky. Oh, it was gorgeous. It was beautiful. It's so uplifting. You will leave with pride and joy in your heart.
Very
Anyway, the trivia question again. In asphalt shingle systems, hail-caused damage presents as a rupture of the reinforcing mat or displacement of granules sufficient to expose the underlying blank. Bitumen, fiberglass, underlayment, or adhesive. 405-478-1520. And so let's talk about the word of the week.
Yes, well, Kelvin can help us with that.
Yes, the word of the week this week is bitumen, a highly viscous constituent of petroleum, depending on its...
Vicious? Did you say vicious?
I
or
did.
viscous?
Viscous.
Oh, okay.
I
yeah.
think I might have misspelled that, Kelvin.
that may be...
Maybe
Oh,
it
it's
was
a-
the autocorrect.
It's a fierce liquid. It's
Yes.
vicious.
That may be my ADHD getting ahead of me there. So,
I don't know.
a highly viscous constituent of petroleum. Depending on its exact composition, it can be sticky, black liquid, or a semi-solid mass that behaves as a liquid over very large timescales. This material is commonly referred to as asphalt, found in natural deposits or refined from petroleum. Bitumen is classified as a pitch, a dark viscous substance, residual from the distillation of organic materials, especially tars. The word derives from ancient Greek word asphaltos, which referred to a natural bitumen or pitch. A bonus factoid is the earliest known use of bitumen was by Middle Paleolithic Neanderthals up to 40,000 years ago. At sites in modern-day Romania and Syria, bitumen was found adhering to stone tools such as knives and axes.
Wow.
Hmm.
That's a lot of information right there.
40,000 years ago.
Yeah.
What did you say? Neo-Paleolithic Neanderthals?
Middle
Paleolithic
Middle.
Neanderthals.
Yeah.
Middle Paleolithic Neanderthals.
Way before us.
in
Yeah.
Romania and Syria.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm sure they were using it all over the world.
So I looked at all of that when Scotty sent it to me, and I just put down AKA asphalt.
That's right. All these people need to know is that it's
Yes.
what we call
Asphalt. So, and which is also what we drive on a blacktop road, right?
It is. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's
Used in
the
a lot
word of the week.
Construction materials, as you know.
Yeah. So, Scotty, give us the trivia question again. Listen up here, everyone.
In asphalt shingle roof systems, hail-caused damage presents as a rupture of the reinforcing mat or displacement of granule sufficient to expose the underlying blank. A. Bitumen, B. Fiberglass, C. Underlayment, or D. Adhesive.
If you think you know the answer that we just gave you, 405-478-1520. All right. So,
We hope somebody calls and gives us a good guess.
me too. All right. So, guys, you had a really beautiful week.
We did. We got a lot of work done in the field for a change.
Well, talk
We've
about
had
that
some
for a
cold
second.
weeks. Well, Rick, keep
Scoot
trying.
up. Scoot up.
trying
Get
to move
closer
my
to the
chair here.
microphone. There you go.
Well, I was trying to move the microphone closer to me.
But when you're sitting out in Canadian County,
Well, we how many roofs did we get done, Kelvin? 3? I think it was 3.
wow.
Yeah, we started on Monday on a job down in Norman. These people, they've been extremely patient with us because every time we've tried to schedule their job, it's been on a week where we were expecting it to be decent enough to shingle, but it turned out to be very cold. So I think that's happened 3 times, and it was the 4th time's the charm for them. But
Well, good.
You know,
Good.
we kept in constant communication, of course, and they understand just like many people do.
Yeah.
That this time of year in Oklahoma
So
is
one
fairly
in-
unpredictable.
One in Norman.
One in Norman, one in Edmond.
Northwest Edmond
Yep.
and West Oklahoma City.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
near just south of Lake Hefner.
So we've been all over the metro this
Oh
week.
yeah,
guess
we're
I-
just
yeah, I
making
guess
our
so.
rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wherever there are roads, blacktop roads made
Yes.
out of asphalt, you can get there.
Well, even the ones that aren't made out of asphalt, we
Good old concrete.
yes. Well, I was saying gravel.
Yeah.
We've done lots of roofs off of gravel roads
I
before.
bet you have.
Yes, indeed.
So,
But,
not a lot of indoor work this week.
No, thankfully we were able to do a lot of indoor work the last couple weeks,
Yeah.
and therefore we had to maximize our opportunity with all the beautiful weather we had.
Yeah.
And it was nice for our crews. We were able to. I mean, we had a lot of heat even. I would call
Right,
it heat.
yeah.
Heat for me coming out of a negative
Yeah.
negative temperatures week or low teens week. So it was really good for all of us. It was nice to be on rooftops with the adjusters. It was me and Johnny on Wednesday spent all day going around to some 2024 denial roofs and re-documenting those roofs to submit that documentation to the insurance carriers, and in hopes, of course, that we can get them to reconsider sending another individual out to render hopefully a more accurate adjustment.
Okay, all right.
So we'll see how
And
that goes.
and that's really a waiting game, isn't it?
It's very much a waiting game. You can submit information to an insurance company, and even if it's blatantly obvious that there's damage that was missed, they might tell you within a day, hey, we're not going to consider this, there's no damage. Or they might string you out for a month and let you believe there's going to be a hope for a reinspection, and then tell you at the end, no further inspections will be granted.
And especially with some carriers, they switch adjusters after a few weeks, and that further can complicate things.
Oh my gosh.
When someone new comes into the equation, into the kitchen, and we have to start from square zero.
Yeah.
That's
So-
very often the case.
Kelvin, tell me again what the the HAAG certification class that you've taken and awaiting the test?
Yeah, so I have taken the education course for the HAAG-certified residential roof inspector, and we are on a path to trying to complete as many as we can. I know Scotty here has taken his commercial roofing and has his certification there. Scott Senior has all of them.
Right.
Wind, residential, commercial, and even a master damage evaluator.
Yes.
So that's the highest level.
And as I understand, you have to have worked on like 10,000 roofs or something.
Yeah, for commercial, it's 150 minimum of 150 commercial inspections within the last several year period
Right.
before you're qualified to take that
To take
exam.
the class, yeah.
Yes. And it's a similar deal with residential
Okay.
and wind as well.
All right. Well, good.
And Johnny,
Are you feeling good about the exam?
I am
Do you
feeling
have
good
it
about the
scheduled
exam.
yet?
I do not have it scheduled. It's a 3-day waiting period to schedule it, but I am on top of that. I know yesterday I want to shout out Johnny Nicholas. He passed his exam with flying colors.
Nice.
I heard he got a 90, which is even higher than I scored.
Oh
He
boy.
did, and he set the tone, and he set the path for us to take and follow in his footsteps. And I hope to be next, but congratulations to Johnny. He did a
Good.
great job there.
Good.
Yeah, he was very nervous, and I kept telling him that you don't need to be nervous. I mean, he was reading the manual. He and Kelvin both. This manual is probably 300-400 pages.
Yeah.
Published, of course, by HAAG Engineering, and my dad bought all 3 of the test manuals to accompany the class.
Right.
And this was my failure because I didn't tell Johnny and Kelvin that I didn't read the manuals in accompaniment to the actual online learning. I just went through the online learning and took my test. But the manuals, they probably are farther ahead of where I was at that point in their tenure, at this point in their tenure in the roofing business, because I did not read the manuals, and they did, or at least they began to and got a significant way through before I told them, why haven't y'all scheduled the test? They said, oh, well, we're reading the manual. I said, well, that probably takes some time.
Yeah, probably.
They said, yeah, we've learned a lot.
Our trivia question is still hanging out there. In asphalt shingle roof systems, hail-caused damage presents as a rupture of the reinforcing mat or displacement of granules sufficient to expose the underlying blank. Is that blank the bitumen, fiberglass, underlayment, or adhesive? If you think you know the answer, give us a call, 405-478-1520. The winner gets 2 free tickets to any Carpenter Square Theater production this season. So there is something in it for you. And you get to ask
Bragging
these
rights.
Yeah, bragging rights. Yeah. And so with that, hey, very quickly before we go to break, this is the first Saturday of every month is National Play Outside Day, and boy, do we have a gorgeous one for today.
It is.
It's also National Minnesota Day, the 32nd state, National Sun-Kissed Citrus Day. I wonder who sponsored that.
I wonder.
It's also a National Self-Injury Awareness Day for make people aware that folks do harm themselves. And I love this one, National Dadgum That's Good Day.
Dang. Didn't know anything about that.
That's the end of Act 1 on McRoof Talks Insurance on KOKC, AM 1520, FM 95.3, and anywhere in the US of A on iHeartRadio. I'm Rick Allen Lippert. We're live in studio with HAAG-certified roofing inspector Scotty McCollum, soon to be HAAG-certified roofing inspector Kelvin Chandler. We'll be right back.
I wonder if we should talk about carriers requiring proof of deductible payment.
Let's do that.
That'd be a good one. We should kind of warn people about because they're starting to do that now. It's a requirement in Texas.
I still haven't come across a situation where they asked us to provide that for one of my customers, but I know one that has been asked that by certain insurance adjusters.
Maybe that'd be the way to bring it up. I know Erica maybe said she saw 2 more this week that were like that, and they asked her for them.
Oh, really? Do we have anything to talk about as far as the booth layout? I mean, we could talk about.
No, but we can also at least say Johnny will have solar there, so if anyone is interested in hearing about solar, we can kind of, without getting into the details,
yeah,
say
yeah.
Johnny is our expert and we'll be there for that, and we can just say, here's who we'll have there. You know, if that's how you want to go about it. Because I don't know what our layout's going to be.
Well, I feel like we can say it in a way that we make sure it's clear the layout is still up in the air, but that we've got some grand ideas. We're just.
Do you want to say we've got fortified and we're going to have integrated solstice shingles on roofs that you can see?
Yep.
Yeah, Scott's been mentioning that.
As well as fortified.
Yep. I probably should have mentioned that before we start the show, but
What's that?
I was just thinking of things we could talk about. So
In this segment, you can talk about how this week you were an assistant project manager, obviously a solution specialist, helping customers make their decisions on finalizing details on their claim.
I'm more than just an inspector.
McRoof Talks Insurance back on the air for Act 2 of today's show. On this date, 1781, the Continental Congress officially adopted the Articles of Confederation, which was the first Constitution of the United States, after ratification of Maryland, which was the 13th state to ratify it. On this date in 1872, Yellowstone became the world's first national park, thanks to Teddy Roosevelt.
Cool.
Fast forward to 21 years ago, Terry Nichols was convicted of state murder charges and being an accomplice in the Oklahoma City bombing with Timothy McVeigh. Okay, our trivia question still out there. In asphalt shingles roof systems, hail-caused damage presents as rupture of the reinforcing mat or displacement of granules sufficient to expose the underlying blank. Is that blank bitumen, fiberglass, underlayment, or adhesive? give us a call, 405-478-1520, 405-478-1520. Okay, guys, the Spring and Home Outdoor Living Show is coming up in 3 weeks.
Less than a month.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
we're
the
very
21st
close.
through the 23rd.
Yep.
This is at Fair Park, and McRoof.us is the premier sponsor.
Yes, we are. We'll be in the Bennett Event Center. There will be plenty of McRoof logos and banners to see, I'm sure, and that comes along with our sponsorship. But we will be at booth number 1660, and we've got some exciting products to showcase that the
Such
public
as?
has never really seen in this setting before.
Oh, okay, like what?
Well, such as CertainTeed's integrated solstice shingles, which integrate a solar panel system into and amongst a normal asphalt shingle roof system.
So rather than being big
Up above the
plates
roof,
on, mounted on top.
On a rack.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what most people are used to seeing. But these are
This is flush.
self-flashing, seamless panel designs that integrate into a, as I said, standard roof system. If it were without those panels, it would just be what people are used to seeing.
I find that fascinating, and I think it's very smart of CertainTeed to do that. And as I understand it, the McRoof team even does the connection to your electrical system.
We will be contracting with an electrical contractor,
But
of course,
it's
that
not-
has a state license and is legally able to do so.
But the benefit of the homeowner is that they're
All
dealing
one warranty.
all one warranty for the roof and the solar system. Now let me ask you this: Can a roof be retrofitted with this? Can you like go in and take out some shingles, put in the solstice?
Well, that's one thing that I haven't been asked, but I've heard from Johnny that if somebody doesn't need a roof replacement, they can install this. It may have to be a CertainTeed system.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know the answer, Kelvin, but it may have to be a CertainTeed system, and it may need to pass an inspection to confirm that that roof is an eligibility inspection.
I think
essentially.
it's probably safe to say that answer will be at the outdoor living show.
It's quite safe to say that
It
it will.
Johnny
Yes.
will be there, and
The-
Johnny is our guy for solar.
Johnny is our in-house solar expert, as he has
Okay.
become over the last 6
and
months.
he will know all about that.
He should, yes.
Something else that's very exciting out there in the home restoration roofing world is the OK Ready project from the Oklahoma Insurance Department.
Yes.
And those applications go live
On Monday, 2 days.
ooh,
2 days from now at noon.
on Monday at noon.
Noon, Central Standard Time. And these are for seven
Zip codes?
7 zip codes, I believe. But I am about to read them.
Yeah. So what are those 7 zip codes?
Just to generally speak, these are all around the Oklahoma City metro area. None of these are in Tulsa or down, near Lawton or Chickasha, nothing like that, or farther north. These are all around OKC. And here those zip codes are, in case you're not already aware. 73049, 73051, 73065, 73069, 73111, 73127, 73129, and lastly 73135.
All right, so those 7 zip codes, and the reason they were chosen, I'm guessing, is because those areas were hit particularly hard with storms in the last year or so.
That is correct. In the last 2 years, definitely,
Okay.
but in
More recent.
several of them within the last year
I know two
were
of them.
fairly extreme storms.
Yes, I know 2 of those zip codes had 3 major storms that hit this year.
Well, one of those zip codes is Norman, and bless their hearts, I mean, they've been hammered.
They have been. They really have been. But they're used to it, so they're resilient down there.
How can one get used to being hammered by storms and tornadoes and stuff?
Well,
But
we are in
so
Oklahoma. It comes with the territory.
Tell us briefly what this OK Ready program does.
Well, this Oklahoma Ready grant program is going to provide for eligible homeowners and eligible zip codes initially a chance to secure a $10,000 grant to put towards installing a fortified compliant roof system.
And by fortified, that's a relatively new building standard developed in the Gulf Coast in Florida.
Yes, it is.
In the aftermath of hurricanes, to make those homes more wind resistant.
Yes, when you say relatively new, IBHS, the Institute for Home and Business and Home Safety, is about 30 years old. If I'm not too, it's approximately 30 years old, and it started as an initiative to strengthen construction in, as you said, the Gulf, the coastal areas, specifically the East Coast and the Gulf Coast, Florida, Georgia, Alabama, those areas that frequently get hit by hurricanes, that are in hurricane zones.
And
so
this
to speak.
fortified, it deals very simply with better attachment of the materials to the house, and
Yes.
better sealing
Well,
techniques.
Yes. So
It
when
keeps the roof on the house.
It does, and the reason it does is because a certified fortified evaluator is an integral part of that process, which every fortified roof that is compliant, and it's not just a haphazard effort by a contractor to sell something that's not actually a certified fortified system. They might use the right components, they might use the right materials and the right methodologies, but it's never going to be a certified fortified system unless there's an evaluator involved, because these evaluators, they go through the training from fortified. They already possess a certain degree of knowledge in their industry and a certain standing in their industry that has to do specifically with roof assemblies and building code. And then it takes that a step further, of course, by making sure that these inspectors, evaluators, are looking for the right criteria and checking off all the right boxes that each house or structure must meet in order to be deemed an appropriate fit for an appropriate candidate for a certified fortified roof system.
Okay.
And that does, from the ground up, that has to do with the structure. That has to do with making sure the soundness is there for the actual structure, including the framing inside the attic, conducting an inspection of the frame members where they attach to, number one, where they attach to each other within the attic, but then where the deck, the roof substrate, attaches to the actual frame of the structure. Because if you do everything else right, but the attachment is not there for between the roof substrate and the frame members, then you could easily lose, say, a 1 year, 2 year, 10-year-old in otherwise flawless condition roof system because the attachment wasn't there.
Right. It's that weakest link
Exactly.
theory.
That's right.
And
That's
so
right.
if you just use regular old, 16 penny nails to put your,
That won't do, Rick.
yeah,
That won't
you
do.
gotta have that, and it's not that complicated. It's using particular screws.
Well, it's tedious. It's tedious work.
Yeah,
And
but it guarantees that your roof won't blow off in a big wind.
or yes, wind, minor tornado,
Yeah.
a hurricane that's not extremely strong, and even in those extreme events, there have been many people over the decades in those coastal areas, and now that fortified has started to work its way inland into the central, south central United States and even other areas where people are just prioritizing building something that's going to last. Whether they get the grant or not, it's that owner's choosing to make that investment for the long term, and those people have often seen that when all neighbors, when all the community around them has to replace a roof or has to bulldoze their house and rebuild their whole structure, that they don't have to do a thing, or
Yeah.
they may have to replace a roof, but it's just that it's not the
Just
it's
the
not a
covering, the
it's not a
shingles.
complete rebuild, and they
Yeah.
don't have the devastation that the surrounding community may have.
So some
suffered.
really valuable long-term benefits.
Of course,
to
of
building.
course.
And you mentioned certified, fortified evaluators, and there's a list of those folks on the insurance department website.
Yes, there are, and if I'm not mistaken from what Scott shared with us last week, I think my numbers might be fuzzy, but I believe he said that there were, in that initial meeting of evaluators and contractors the week before last week actually, that there were only 7 contractors and 4 evaluators
Wow.
in the state of Oklahoma
Wow.
that are currently compliant
Authorized,
with
yeah.
all fortified standards.
Okay, it's time for you guys to get up on the roof.
I suppose it is.
All right. So in this week's
Yeah,
View
Kelvin
from
and
the
I are going to
Rooftop.
start singing before we play that again.
Scotty and Kelvin discuss common solution specialist experiences around the office and out in the field in a story called Men of Many Hats.
Well, you know, Rick, versatility is a key element to being a McRoof solution specialist.
I guess it
It
does.
it's one of our core principles, and teamwork is another one of those things. And Kelvin, he did a lot of things this week, and those included being on a rooftop. Those included project managing. Maybe it was the most versatile week he's ever had, diverse week he's ever had with us so far. But he even exceeded what are the normal limitations to the responsibilities of a
Kelvin.
solution specialist.
Do
And-
tell.
But that's not all that uncommon because he's a person that cares.
Well, this week was an interesting week because we had all those ice storms and snow the last 2 weeks, and we have roofs that needed to be put on. We have homes that needed to be protected, and that required all of us to get all hands on deck. We are solution specialists. We're not inspectors. We're not managers. We're not salesmen. We get on roofs, and we do so because that's what's needed, not because that's what we do. So
Yep.
there are many things that I have to do to make sure our clients have their needs met, and that we do what's required.
Yep.
So
Well, I mean, I know of a couple things that you did that were last minute, spur of the moment, maybe urgent type situations, and I have to thank you for everything you did that was outside of your normal responsibility.
I mean, did you
And-
rescue a puppy from a pond or something? I mean, let's
No,
get some
no.
specifics here.
Yeah.
well,
yeah.
sure. Well,
He rescued some fascia and some brick from being from having the wrong finish applied to it.
Ooh.
Yes.
Yes, I got to meet with a couple of our partners in restoring homes, and I got to see some interesting problems that needed some solutions. I was able to get hands-on and project management with all of my builds this week, and that is not something a typical salesman will do. A typical salesman meets with the homeowner and gets on a roof, maybe inspects it, and he passes them on to someone else. But here at McRoof, we have to be adaptable, and we have to know everything that's going on. Every member of our team has their hands and knowledge, and every other member, and we all know what's going on. The communication is efficient. We all know the other person's role, and we can step in when their role isn't being met. And we're a great team, and that requires some adaptability at times. And so we all know how to step into each role, such as handling insurance, project management, making sure that the construction is quality, and the customer service is top notch.
Good.
Well, even then, we do have issues, just as in any business. It's just a matter of the people that we have, like Kelvin and Johnny, and I would like to not exclude myself from that. Just care about helping those other people if they get to a point of being overwhelmed, because at the end of the day, the goal is that the customer gets what we desire to give them, and that's great product, great service, and our expertise in the number one in insurance, and number two, in no particular order, the quality of the construction.
Okay. Our trivia question still out there waiting for you to call 405-478-1520 in the asphalt shingle roof system hail-caused damage presents as rupture of the reinforcing mat or displacement of granules sufficient to expose the underlying blank. Is it bitumen, fiberglass, underlayment, or adhesive? We gave you the answer at the top of the show, if you were listening.
I don't know.
405-478-1520. That's the end of Act 2 on McRoof Talks Insurance. I'm Rick Allen Lippert. We're live in studio waiting for you to call. I have HAAG-certified roofing inspector Scotty McCollum with me, and soon to be HAAG-certified roofing inspector Kelvin Chandler here. Running man Eric Yandel waiting for you to call. 405-478-1520. You could be even closer to that microphone. Do you have anything specific you want to? Oh, you're about to go live. I'm sorry.
Spring is right around the corner, and as you know, spring usually brings rain and storms in Oklahoma. Is your roof ready? If you don't know but would like some well-founded peace of mind, call McRoof to schedule a professional assessment of your property. Our solutions team will provide a thorough manual inspection, detailed written report, conditions photo album, and a summary of recommendations for repair, maintenance, or an insurance claim. In providing accuracy and service, we help you to maximize the comfort, durability, and value of your property, even if that means we don't sell you a roof now or at all. We want to be your professional roofing and insurance restoration specialist. Let our family serve you today. For quality, integrity, and lasting value, call McRoof at 855-766-3405. McRoof.us. Simply better roofs.
Anything specific you want to get into this next segment?
Kind of what I said in my spot. Spring storms.
Yeah.
Get ready.
Well, we'll do that.
The rainy
We'll do that
season.
with the storm too.
Mm-hmm.
I thought we might revisit the show.
I think the home show,
and the OK Ready.
Strength and OK update.
Yeah.
I think also I'd like to talk about.
What's that?
I'd also like to talk about the April 19th, 2023 hailstorm specifically, which dropped large hail in Edmond, north and northwest Oklahoma City. That is almost 2 years out.
Okay.
And those people are running up against their timeline
Okay.
to file a claim and to get the work done.
Okay.
I just heard your dad's comment. We'll have people call us before their own children.
McRoof Talks Insurance back on the air for Act 3 of today's live radio show. Give us a call, 405-478-1520. Hey, on this date in 1692, this was the first of the Salem witch trials in Salem, Massachusetts Bay Colony, when 3 women were accused of being practitioners of witchcraft. And you know, this is the first day of Women's History Month. So on this day of 1864, Rebecca Lee became the first African American woman to receive a medical degree. And then on this date in 1909, the first U.S. University School of Nursing was established at the University of Minnesota. And on this date in 1912, Isabella Goodwin was appointed the first woman detective in New York City.
Interesting.
Okay, so, good. We have a couple of callers on the line. Let's first go to Benny. Benny, you got there first.
Hello, Benny.
What's up? Okay. Okay.
Well, let's
So
hear
in
it.
the asphalt shingles, which of those is exposed when there's hail damage?
It could be. It could be, Benny. And that would mean a lot more things are damaged. Or a lot more things are exposed. Well, Eric, you better ring the bell because, Benny, you are correct.
Okay. Good for
Nice
you,
job,
Benny.
Benny.
Oh, yay! Benny won it. Yay! Your average is going up. It did. It did. It did.
You've redeemed yourself.
Okay. Well, Benny, we'll mail you a couple of more tickets to Carpenter Square Theater. I hope somebody in your family finally uses some. I understand. Hey, we have another caller on the line we need to get to. Thank you for calling, and we'll get those tickets to you.
Have a nice rest of your weekend, Ben.
All right, and John, I'll bet you were gonna you've hung up, John, and I assume you had the answer.
Heard the answer.
And there you go.
that
But
was
we
his-
do
that was
have
probably his answer,
we do
too.
have Chris from Blue Falcon Aerial on the line. Hello, Chris. Doing great. Thanks for calling in.
Well, this is a nice surprise. Good to hear your voice, Chris. And we've got Kelvin too. I don't know if you knew that. Oh yeah. Well, thank you. We needed to give him a break because he worked extra hard this week. Oh.
So, Chris, what's
In our
going
own
on?
little way, yes.
What's going on with Blue Falcon Aerial these days? Well, very
Yeah.
good.
Well, that's very vague, but more details to come, right? Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's already that soon. Thank you for the
Awesome.
reminder, and I plan to do that.
Hey, Chris, you're going to have a drone at the Home and Outdoor Living Show in the McRoof booth, are you not? That'd be great. Now, will you be
I don't know if we'll
flying?
be able to fly it around the event center, but at least they'll have it there for people to see.
Good.
It is.
Glad you like it.
It's impressive. we just hope that we get some interest in it, because people will, I'm sure, spread the word like wildfire as soon as people start to install it and talk to their friends and neighbors about it.
Yes, and I'm sure that Blue Falcon drone will get some good pictures of it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Well, Chris,
Definitely.
thanks so much for calling in. We're going to move on. It's only an hour-long show, and we're
That's right. Already 7 minutes away. But thanks
All right,
for
so
calling,
thanks a
Chris.
lot.
Enjoy your weekend.
Okay. So speaking of the home and outdoor living show, McRoof will be the premier sponsor of that. This is the weekend of March 21st to 23rd at the Bennett Event Center at Fair Park.
Yes, that's right.
And you'll be displaying all kinds of fun stuff.
At least 4 different styles of roofing systems that are all vastly different in their nature. Fortified roof systems, certaintied integrity roof systems with a class 4 shingle, most likely a luxury shingle for people to see the differences between that and something that is a standard look shingle but a high performing shingle, such as the Northgate series of impact resistant shingles, and then something like a certaintied solstice panel integrated within a standard integrity roof system from Certaintied. So and I think we might do some metal as well.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
And once again, that is the the spring home and outdoor living show at Fair Park. It's the weekend of March 21st through the 23rd, and McRoof will have a big booth there. And
we still don't know how big the
booth
we know how
is.
big the booth is going to be, 20 by 30 feet.
Oh,
so
good.
that's a
That's
big booth.
pretty darn big booth.
But
and,
Scott
and,
has some grand ideas.
and
for
Scott
the
will be
actual
making
design.
some presentations there as well.
Oh yes, I forgot about that.
I know one on Fortified.
He and Avery Smith Sr. will also will both be presenting on Orca and the value of memberships in Orca for contractors
That's
in
the
our
Oklahoma
location.
Roofing Contractors Association.
That's right, but also the value to homeowners and building owners of fortified roof systems.
Yeah. So that's all wonderful.
Yes,
And
it is.
then the Strengthen Oklahoma program, the OK Ready from the Oklahoma Insurance Department, those zip codes, the applications go live Monday at noon.
Monday the 3rd at 12 p.m.
Yeah, so,
Very soon.
and I recall Scott saying that,
They're going like hotcakes.
yeah, you better be ready to punch that last number at noon if you want to get in.
Yep.
And those zip codes again: 73049, 73051, 73065, 73069, which is Norman, 73111, 73127, 73129, and 73135.
Indeed.
Okay, well, let's get stormy right now. What do you say? So
It
this
can always
is
be stormy in Oklahoma.
yeah. No, we've sometimes called this before the storm, sometimes call it after the storm. We're just going to call it the before and after storm tip.
I like that because we are in Oklahoma again. So probably my number 1 tip on my note sheet is get a qualified inspection. And you hear us say this all the time. A qualified inspection can let you know that point your attention to the fact that there are some issues with your current roof system, whether those issues are delayed maintenance, whether those issues could be old storm damage that has not been addressed yet. It could also be anything from rodent intrusion to say carpentry damage on a siding surface that is adjacent to your roof that could be in a deteriorated state, which if it's exposed to another Oklahoma springtime with high winds, heavy rains, and potentially both at the same time, could could open that one particular detail up to a failure of that certain part of your roof system, which could cause you interior damage, could cause you more damage to your roof and potentially expensive repairs as a result of that. So it doesn't cost you anything. Our inspections are complimentary, as are many other companies' inspections. We just like to make sure people understand the difference in a HAAG-certified inspector, or somebody who, in addition to HAAG, is trained by other means as well, and is not aimed at selling you a roof,
And
especially when you don't need it.
And your inspections involve photographs and reports.
Graphs, charts, photographs.
It's pretty comprehensive.
Written rundowns of the different conditions on a roof system, and as thorough as these reports are, and we try to, it has been an extreme difference throughout time with the evolution of our reports, Kelvin. You didn't remember a time when our reports consisted of a paragraph explanation to a customer and maybe a dozen photos. It's way, way beyond that these days.
Oh my.
And even so, there are lots of people who receive our reports that we believe should file a claim without a doubt, and choose not to do so. And that's fine, but we always like to make sure that people understand the risk. Number one, the risk that you are opening your structure up to, and the risk that you are opening your wallet up to when you don't adhere to sound counsel. And that's something that we have a lot of smart clients. I think all of our clientele, because they choose for us to be their advisor, are very wise, very smart people. But still, there are some people who call us out for an inspection and receive our report, decide not to act on that information. We hope that everybody gets what they need and what they want, but we just hope that those people who don't take our advice don't end up costing themselves a lot of money and a lot of heartache with the damage that they've allowed to happen, or just accumulate on their property.
Okay. All right, Calvin, what's coming up for you next week, this coming week?
Well,
Probably some inspections.
yes, I have a couple inspections. We have more builds going on next week that I will be getting my hands on and helping out with. So I have a busy week, some more education. I am trying to get into Fortified and seeing what certifications I can get with them personally. That way I know we have Fortified rolling out through our home show, and we want to be as knowledgeable and be the leading source of information on Fortified and installation as well. And to piggyback on what Scotty had said earlier is certified evaluators in the state of Oklahoma. I actually looked last night, and it looks like I think he's right, there's 7 in Oklahoma, but there's only 3 to 5 in the Oklahoma City metro area.
Wow.
And in the heart of Edmond, McRoof is the only one. So
It's slim pickings.
Yeah.
Yes.
And just to clarify for folks out there, in order to qualify to get the grant, the upwards of $10,000 grant from the state to do a fortified roof, within the process, it has to be evaluated by an official fortified evaluator.
At least twice. At the beginning,
twice.
prior to the project commencing, and at the end of the project once it is said by the contractor to be finished.
And as I recall, it's really a minuscule percentage increase in cost to go fortified. I mean, less than 10%, I think.
12 to 15.
Okay.
And we haven't done many of these yet, but the math that I have done for Johnny's and Kelvin's customers that are interested in doing this upgrade, and my own as well, it has come out to between 12 and 15%.
But still, if that keeps your roof on the house and
And
not,
if that ends up saving you 25% year over year on your premiums, it's a no-brainer.
that is a real no-brainer.
Yep.
All right, well, that brings us to the end of McRoof Talks Insurance on KOKC, AM 1520, FM 95.3. Oh, before we get to the Dad's Wisdom, I forgot to say that S&CM LLC, doing business as McRoof.US, legally operates under Oklahoma registration number 8000002, and that the registration applies to both residential and commercial roofing. Okay, Scotty, Dad's Wisdom, brought to you by Energy Q.
This is no one's dad that I know said this, but it was also very long ago. Real knowledge is to know the extent of one's ignorance. Confucius Kongji.
Okay. Our own Will Rogers once said, everybody's ignorant just about different things.
That is true.
I'm Rick Allen Lippert. Thank you, Scotty McCollum. Thank you, Kelvin Chandler. Thank you, Eric Yandel.
Thank you,
we will
Eric.
be back next week.